Back to childhood. There's always the kid who refuses to ride a bike because they're afraid of falling. That was my son until I told him you only have two choices, ride or not. Falling is not one of the choices. One day he finally decided to launch.
So Duncan, tell me what you're doing.
Riding my bike.
Well, look up at me. Look up at me. Tell me about this today. This is the first day you're riding your bike?
Yeah, I think my favorite bike is a swim.
Tell me what it was like to ride your bike finally.
Really fun, and the breeze gets in your face. That feels good.
Did you get rid of fear?
Yeah.
And you could ride it. All right, I'm proud of you. I love you, I love you, I love you. Watch out, there's a car.
All right, that part. All right, once they get the hang of it, that bike becomes their first getaway car, a piece of independence. Our next guest says children can start learning to ride a bike as early as age 1 without training wheels. Ryan McFarland is the founder of Strider Bikes, a company that's redefined how kids learn to ride. Ryan shares how it got started, how it works, and the benefits. Good morning.
Good morning. I love that story and that video you shared.
Oh yeah, he was adamant. We went through probably 3 different bikes that we bought for his size, and he would just stare at them in the corner and then finally rode. But to your point, having to get rid of fear, but you could start much earlier than he did when you have your system, and we'll get to that in just a second. But you were surrounded by all kinds of things like boats and cars and motorcycles growing up. At 2, you already were on motorized equipment.
Yeah, my dad had a motorcycle shop, and so he was all into the toys. So it was all around me growing up.
At 5, you had your first motorcycle?
Yep, yeah.
Did you have a black leather jacket to go with it? That's all I want to know.
I've got lots of jackets. So.
Your dad always loved to have fun. He would pull sleds in the winter with the motorcycle evening. All right, the beginning of Strider Bikes. You wanted to share the thrill of riding with your 2-year-old son, but not only riding, but knowing the skill of riding. You bought him a traditional ride-on toys, you know, the things that we all do. You wanted to help him develop real riding skills, though, and you bought the cheapest, lightest bike you could find for a reason. And what did you do to it?
Yeah. Well, you know, first I did go down that traditional path. I mean, I had 4-wheeled scoot toys, the tricycle, a little bike with training wheels. 2, I even had a little Yamaha 50 for him with training wheels on it. So it was all the way down this path with 3 and 4 wheels. And it was kind of watching him struggle with the different machines, kind of had that breakthrough that he's not being exposed to the actual core skill that he needs to learn, which is how to balance it on 2 wheels, how to hold it upright through his own power without extra wheels or stabilizers or anything else doing it for him. So he needed to learn that fundamental skill. And the only way to do that is to have the opportunity, which means he needed something with just 2 wheels.
And you retrofitted the bike that I talked about.
I did. I went and found the smallest, lightest bike I could find, and then I really started just chopping it up to make it even smaller and lighter. You know, a lot of those little kids' products look small from our adult perspective, but if you really take a hard look and measure them and weigh them, and you compare them to the actual leg length or inseam of your toddler, and how much they weigh, you realize that they're pretty daunting machines, really. So, you know, that cute little bike with training wheels might weigh 15 pounds for a kid that only weighs 20, and it might have a seat that's 16 inches high for a kid that only has a 12-inch inseam. And therein lies the problem. They're scared of it because it's too big for them. It doesn't fit them right. They don't feel like they have control of it, like that they're going to be hurt by this big thing that they can't control.
So that fear is not unfounded. But you put your son on that bike.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about scaling that, you know, if I as an adult said, okay, I'm 160 pounds, if somebody gave me a 120-pound bike with the seat up to my chest and said, hey, go have fun on that, like, I'd be scared to go out and try and ride that around. Yeah. So when we really scale it to kids, we realize how out of whack these proportions are. So I set out to make it as small and as light as I could so that when he got on it, he felt like he had total command of it. Like he wasn't afraid of it. He he had command of it. That's the best word that I can think of there. And
And
from
when you
there,
put him on it, parents at parks were like, what is that? But because of what you talk about, the scale and how this works, I want to go more into the mechanics of how it works and how a child can always feel safe. Because of that, they're able to start doing it almost as soon as they're able to walk, right?
yeah, really, as soon as they're walking, and when they start out, that's all they're doing. We even qualify it by saying, hey, if your child can walk, your child can ride. Because when they start out on a balance bike, that's all they're doing is they're just walking. They happen to be holding the handlebars in front of them, and the bike is between their legs, but they're just walking along. They might not even be sitting down yet. They're just getting used to having this machine between their legs. And then pretty soon they'll just comfortably sit down on it and keep walking and running. And then pretty soon that naturally leads to them gliding just a few feet between, footsteps. And then maybe it's 4 feet and 6 feet between steps. And before you know it, they've got it. It's so intuitive. It's like a natural extension of walking.
Yeah.
And it makes the process so easy that kids, year and a half old can easily learn to ride. And by 2 years old, they're balancing on 2 wheels and, hanging out with their buddies and riding trails and competing in some of our races and all kinds of stuff. It's amazing how quickly they can progress if they simply have the right tool for the job and a Strider bike that is fit to their size.
We're laughing because those videos are so cute. But another thing is that it's low enough that the feet can touch the ground with the knees bent. Again, that sense of I feel safe.
Right. I have nothing to fear on this bike. I've got total control of it. And with that confidence, then, as you see in the video there, kids explore terrain. So they're riding off the sidewalk, they're riding through dirt and over tree roots or at a skate park. And the interesting thing there is that's really starting to engage them mentally because, riding on the flat, straight sidewalk is okay, but it's not mentally stimulating. And so if you don't have any mental stimulation, then pretty soon you go back to watching TV or something. And so when you got a bike that you have good control of, it's capable of going off-road or on obstacles, then all of a sudden you start to see the whole world as a playground. And hey, I wonder if I could ride my bike over that, or I wonder if I could get up that little curb or off that little curb. And so the world becomes a playground. And once I'm in my 50s and I love motorcycles and mountain bikes, and I still see the whole world as a playground. I still love to go riding. So.
All right, I love this because today you have over 10 million kids in 75 countries who have learned to ride off of the Strider. So that was a great garage idea that you had there. But what you had to fight was kind of the uphill battle of a lot of common myths, and it's just kind of traditionally the way we've done things, right? So one myth is that kids should start with trikes, training wheels, or 4-wheel toys.
Right. It actually sends them down a wrong path, and then they have to unlearn those skills. A bike with a tricycle or a bike with training wheels actually steers differently. You don't on those machines, you don't learn to lean into the turn. And so you learn a skill that you actually have to unlearn later. And that's actually the place where a lot of kids get stuck and they don't transfer. They'll try and take the training wheels off a bike that they've been riding for a while, and then it no longer steers the way they have learned and been practicing, and they don't understand why it crashes. So then they want the training wheels back on. And then after a period, it's like your child gets to this point where I don't know how to ride it without the training wheels. I feel like I'm too old to ride it with the training wheels because I see my peers riding. And so now I just want to avoid my bike. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to pretend I don't want to ride my bike when they really do. They just want to ride on 2 wheels.
Yeah, I mentioned in the introduction there, there's a lot more to riding than just that meets the eye. And there's that moment of independence. And I'm going to round out with my son. And I always remember the summer. We call it the summer of. That's not my son, by the way. But anyway, the summer of pies. He and his friends would all get together on their bikes, and they were coming back to the house, and they all were digging into pies. And I'm like, where are you getting these pies? And he goes, at the grocery store. I'm like, well, the closest grocery store. Oh, you're riding your bikes up there. He goes, yeah, we can ride our bikes now, Mom. Okay, so that mystery was solved. But how are you affording these pies? Because they were like $15 pies. He goes, well, we made nice with the woman at the store, and she said there's some pies that maybe are cracked or dropped, and we get them for free. So it was like the summer of pies. Every day they'd have like, their bikes, and they'd ride up to the store. But it does provide entertainment, independence, and of course the whole idea of just moving your body.
Absolutely. When you have mobility, your world gets larger. You can see new places, meet new people, find more pies.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning and letting us know about this.
All right. Thank you.
All right. To learn more about Strider bikes, visit greatdayhouston.com, and we'll connect you, and your little one will be riding before you know it.